Okay, Allison,
Yes.
we are going live.
How exciting. So I'm hearing you twice, which is great. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Allison.
Actually, you don't sound that delayed. That's interesting. So I think I'm still hearing you twice from Discord because I haven't changed Discord preferences.
Yeah.
Let me fix that. Whoa! The Discord just moved all over the place. All right. Can anybody hear me?
I can.
Oh, I see what happened. Sound good here. Don't hear Steve. Sandy's here. Sandy's leaving early. Kevin will not be here. He is transporting his wife around in his all-wheel drive vehicle in the snow, apparently. I think that was his excuse, wasn't it? Okay, Steve. Brett says here's Allison. How is Steve?
Say that again?
I don't know that they're hearing you.
Yeah, I did a test before you got on and they said they could hear me. Wait, Rick says he doesn't hear me.
Rick
now.
is saying he can't hear you.
Steve is soft. All right, let me check my volumes.
Talk about running things to the wire. I think I finished writing this about...
All right. Does that help my volume at all, Discord chat room?
Maybe you just need to be up on the mic more.
I'm pretty close.
Yeah.
That helped. Good. Thank you, Sandy.
Steve, very, very faint, Rick says. She says a little. I think you can change your volume in Discord.
Yeah, I just
correct?
did. I cranked it to 100%.
Really?
Input. Yep.
Yeah, you don't sound very loud to me.
Well, I could play with my mic gain. Tell me if this blows away.
Whoa. That got a lot louder.
How about now?
That sounds good. Yes.
Much better. Okay.
Whoa. Okay, maybe a little hot.
All right. How about that?
Yeah, that's good. Okay. All right. Let's make sure that people can hear NosillaCast intro. Throw some music in. John, sorry to hear you're still non. I don't know what that means.
Non-essential.
Oh, non-essential.
Yeah.
Don't get me started. Could everybody hear the music?
I could.
Oh, I see. There he is. Still non-essential NASA nut. All right. Must be time for roll call. Let's see. We've got Allison and Steve and Sandy and Alan and Brett and George C. maybe? And let's see. Who else is really here? Nuclear John might actually be here. Rose, Richard, and Rick, and still non-essential NASA nut, and somebody come in as TitanBot.
That old TitanBot.
Right. Exactly. All right. And if you get an Alvin, who's Alvin?
Alvin!
Is there an Alvin? And Frank. Oh, wait, there's Frank. Frank just showed up.
Yeah.
Hi, Frank.
Just in time. Welcome, Wheels. There's an Alan, but I don't see an Alvin.
I don't see Alvin. Unless there's a chipmunk we don't know about. All right. Well, I've probably got about 3 or 4 minutes of voice before I lose it yet again. Going into week 4 with this cold, feeling strong. But I refuse to apologize for it. On the show, anyway. All right. Let's see. Oh, I don't have my control panel up. Shoot. I need another iPad. Well, can I trust you to mute yourself, Steve?
Yes, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure you'll let me know if I forget.
Okay. Mute yourself, dear. All right. Bring this down a little bit. All right. Here we go. Enable the track to record. There you go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com. a Technology Geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, January 13th, and 2019. Why does that say 12th? We're going to record that again. That's why I paused. It was like, it's not the 12th. All right. Take two.
Al?
Yes.
Alan's saying they don't hear the theme music, I'm assuming in Discord. Do you not
so you're
pipe
not
that?
hearing playback?
Anyone else on Discord? Can you... no music
Ever
on
so
Discord,
slight.
so no playback on Discord.
Okay. Hindenburg, preferences. Playback is there. Maybe that's supposed to go to YouTube Live? No.
Yeah, things would be fine on YouTube because we're monitoring that. I'm not monitoring Discord, though.
Okay. Hang on. All right. So in Discord.
Thanks for the catch, chat room.
Let's see. I need to do this. So I can get to the menus, preferences, voice and video. Input should not be Al's mic. It should be YouTube Live input. And now tell me if you hear the music. Now how much would you pay?
There it is. All right, Rick. Thank you. Thanks, Sandy.
Okay, good.
We're good.
I think that audio was. I think the thing got clipped a little bit when I dragged it in. Okay. I'm glad you caught that because this is going to be almost exclusively a pre-recorded show, so you wouldn't have heard very much tonight. All right, here we go. Mute yourself, Steve. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, January 13th, 2019, and this is show number 714. Well, Steve and I are fresh back from CES, and we have tons of great material from the show. As always, we don't go for the high wow stuff like giant 4 or 8K TVs and automated cars. We tend to go for the small, more practical devices and ideas that we think will interest the NosillaCastaways. Sometimes we do stuff that's just weird because that's just fun. It's actually going to be hard to decide the order in which we let the content out because there are so many great interviews this year. We did them all in an Airtable database, and I rated them A, B, and C, and there were only a couple of C's and just a few more B's, but everything else was A's. So the content's really, really good this year. Now, we get most of our content from the small press events that start long before the actual conference starts. We rolled into Las Vegas on Sunday, and we had most of our interviews done by Tuesday when the show officially started. The giant exhibit halls are pretty overwhelming, but if you try to focus on a few smaller categories, you can survive them. For example, the North Hall of the Convention Center is mostly cars and car audio and these giant crazy booths. But there's a funny story about the North Hall. At one of the press events, we interviewed a guy from a company called Furrion. You'll hear that later, I don't know, in a few weeks. They had an interesting electric cooler, like, little power banks and stuff that you could pull out. It had Qi charging on top, and of course, it chilled your drinks. But while we were chatting with the guy, they had this display showing a giant 65-foot yacht plowing through waves in the ocean. I mentioned that it was distracting and hard to focus on this cooler because this boat was going back and forth across the screen. And he said, "Oh yeah, we're bringing that to the convention center." Wait, excuse me, what? He said this would be the second largest booth in the entire convention center, only smaller than Honda. Well, we had to go to the North Hall to see if he's telling the truth, and he was. I cannot even imagine the logistics involved in getting a 65-foot yacht into a convention hall. I put a picture of it in the show notes so you can see for yourselves. The other funny thing is last year they brought this giant mobile home that had I think it had a helipad on top and had a jacuzzi in it. We walked all through it last year. Well, it turns out that's also in the convention center, but you can't see it because it's behind the yacht. I don't know why they bothered to bring it because you can't see it at all. Well, anyway, as always, the people we get to hang out with at CES make it really fun for us. As we usually do, we hung out with Chuck Joyner and Dave Hamilton quite a bit. But what made it even more fun is that Chuck brought along NosillaCast way Norbert Frasa, and he brought him to help him manage his video recordings. Norbert is awesome sauce. Now, we'd met him before at MacStock. We actually sat with him most of the time this last year, but we got to know him much, much better on this trip. He's got a wicked sense of humor, which is pretty much all it takes for me to adore someone. Well, we also got to have breakfast with NosillaCast way Sandy Foster again, and we dragged along Norbert so that the two of them could meet. Now, she's the one you'll remember who made the awesome Apple Podfeet pillow for me. She's hilarious, and the four of us had great fun geeking out. I even got them to record a quick little snippet video for Bart, and I'm going to play the audio for you right now. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. Here. Get ready for it. It is like, I think it's 4 seconds. Is that how long it is? Dagnabbit.
Yeah, it's 4 seconds.
Yeah, 4 entire seconds. Okay, don't blink or you miss it. Now.
Remember, stay patched and stay secure.
That's the whole thing. I bet Chuck interviewed every one of the developers. Yeah, we got 38 interviews. What did he get, Steve? 88?
Probably. Usually double or triple what we get. But he had help this year.
Yeah, without Norbert, he couldn't have done it. All right. Mute. Isn't that great? When we sent the little video over to Bart, and he told me later on talking, he said, if I could have found an emoji with a bigger grin on it, I would have used it. But that was the biggest grin I could find, what he sent back. So he got a kick out of that. Well, we also got to hang out with NosillaCast way Joe LaGreca, which is always fun. Now, he really wanted a beer after driving 6 hours from the San Diego area to Las Vegas when he met us. I'm not sure how his karma caused it, but immediately after he got there, we did an interview at the Blue booth to see their new Blue Ember XLR microphone, which you'll hear about later. And after we were done, the woman I was interviewing said, "Hey, want a beer?" I don't understand how Joe made that happen, but we ended up having beers in the Blue booth. Joe is a really interesting geek who challenges my thinking, which is the best kind of friend. Now, during the show, we made a point of going to the Pi Technologies booth because NosillaCast way Shai Yamini was working the booth this year. They have some really cool toys for kids, which you'll hear about at a later date. And I don't want to spoil it by telling you about it. You're going to have to wait for the interview. Now, we did have one odd encounter. At one of the press events, I was approached by a gentleman named Nicolas Charbonnier, I think that's how you pronounce it, from Switzerland. He introduced himself by telling us that he was a fan of the podcast. Well, the odd part was, immediately after saying that, he started telling us about how Apple was going down the toilet and how happy he was about that. At that point, I was like, are you sure you listen to my shows? Why you just don't sound like a NosillaCast way? Now, not that we can't have contrary opinions, of course. See previous statement about how awesome Joe is and how he challenges my thinking. But his vehemence on the subject really made me wonder why he would enjoy any of my content. Now, he did go on to tell us the reason he wanted Apple to fade away. He said he's tired of all the other companies just following Apple, and he hopes that as Apple loses dominance, maybe these other companies will start innovating again. I can't actually argue with that logic, but I still wonder whether he actually listens to the shows. So, Nicholas, if you're out there listening, shoot me a note so I know you're actually out there listening. Well, in Chit Chat Across the Pond this week, we are finally back to our Programming by Stealth episode. In this installment, Bart teaches us how to create navigation bars in Bootstrap. We learn how to make them collapse and expand to different device screen sizes and how to style them to look nice. We learned how to add branding and how Bootstrap makes it do all kinds of logical things. It was an extraordinarily easy lesson because Bootstrap makes it that easy. You can find this episode in the Chit Chat Across the Pond feed or the Programming by Stealth feed in your podcatcher of choice. And of course, you can play the episode right at podfeed.com, which has a link over to Bart's amazing written tutorial show notes. Well, let's dig in and listen to the first interview from CES, from one of my favorite companies. All right. Can I be a guest in next year at CES? Well, if you're there, we'll say hey. All right.
There are some loops to jump through.
Loops or hoops?
Loops. Well, hoops and loops to get accepted. Chuck did have to do some work to get Norbert accepted as his cameraman at kind of at the last minute. So you do need to have a role to come to CES. I don't know if you can just go as some interested party. Is that a possibility?
I don't think you can.
Yeah, I think it's industry rep, media, or someone, who's selling.
Yeah.
Someone's got a booth.
Let's see. Well, I should do a chapter mark without...
without Kevin.
Who's in charge?
Is
Brett,
that normally
you're second
Brett,
in command, right?
Brett or Rick?
Are you the assistant? Oh, you as a consultant? Okay.
Industry consultant. Yeah, that probably would work.
Whoop. Whoopsie.
What was your business card for? Must have been something relevant to industry. Right, Rick?
What is that noise I hear in the background?
Me?
I'm hearing like a little tinking, like you're in a restaurant.
Is it this?
No? No, it's like the sound of glasses clinking almost. I wonder if your headphone cable touching anything? It's not loud. It's just
the table. Maybe it's hitting these pencils. I'll move them.
Yeah, that sounds like it. You have an LLC. Okay. That's right. Sandy is my wing woman. All right. Let's hear Wisecam. My favorite companies.
Well, you guys know I'm a big old fan of the Wisecam. In fact, I've sprinkled them all over my house. And there's a gentleman at Wise who actually has a Post-it note on his computer because of one question I keep nagging him about. And I managed to find him here at CES. His name is Matt Stoneking. How you doing today, Matt?
I'm great.
Yeah, he says, yeah, you're famous with us. Well, I like to bother people, but that's fun. So I'm addicted to Wisecams, as many people are. I think once you get one, you seem to need more of them. It is an addiction. So I own this Wisecam. I own the Wisecam Pan. I got the Wisecam Black that was in special production for a little while. That was very exciting. Yes. But now you guys have something new called Max Drive. What is this?
For starters, no relation to my name.
Oh, okay.
But this is going
to... What kind of narcissist are you? You named it after yourself?
Well, they asked me what I wanted to call it. But this is going to act as a cloud storage device to back up the Wise cameras to get your SD card footage backed up so that you can keep more of it for longer.
Okay, so you would still use the SD cards in the Wisecams to do the local storage?
You'll be able to do both.
Oh, okay.
So you can have the SD card and back up the short-term stuff and then treat this as a more concealed extra backup to have more storage, and that way if something happens to the camera, you also still have a copy of the data.
Okay, that'll be even more important as we finally talk you guys into an outdoor cam. I understand that's the number one most requested item?
Yes, and it is coming. I've definitely seen work on it, yes.
Oh, fantastic,
yes.
Fantastic.
Our CEO put out an email at the beginning of the year saying that it should be out by the end of the year.
I got to tell you, I love your CEO's emails.
Yes.
When the Wisecam 2 was like a smidge late shipping, we got all of these little updates saying, okay, well, take a look at the sensor. This is what we weren't real happy with, and it was all nerdy and everything. Yeah. I love those emails. Those things are great.
Yeah, he definitely believes in transparency, so communicating with you guys, because everybody likes to know what's going on. So.
Yeah, right. You got information, you don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me about what makes this cool.
Well, for starters, you can use between 1 terabyte to a 12 terabyte drive to back up as much footage as you want from as many cameras as you want. So I've tested up to 10 stably on my network without any issue, but I'll be doing more stress testing before we get to launch to try and give a more solid number on that.
So for the people just listening, not being able to see this, basically it's a round box that's got it essentially looks like a drive toaster. It's got a little slot in here. You can put in a full-size drive or an an SSD,
yes.
Right? So what's the connectivity? How do you hook this up?
It'll connect through Ethernet. So you'll have to hard line it directly to the router, but then from there the cameras just have to be on the same network and it can back up wirelessly to them. or to the drive.
So is there software running on the Max drive that goes out and is sucking it down constantly?
Yes, exactly. And it will be through your network, so it won't consume data. So it wouldn't be like sending it to a cloud service where you're going to keep piling up more and more data as you go on or have more cameras.
So as somebody breaks into my house and they spend 20 minutes snatching all of the Wise cams I've sprinkled all over the house, they run out of the house with it and my jewels, I've got that backed up anyway.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So what is the ship date you're looking for on this?
We're hoping for in Q1 or Q2, but we still have some development decisions we need to make on it. We're still doing some software decisions as well in terms of how they'll interact.
I just realized I've got a security bits to put in here too. I almost forgot to put it in. I think Bart would have been mad at me for that. What do you think?
Was that separate from Chit Chat?
Yes. Okay, this is going on long. I'm gonna move us along.
All right.
After all. Okay. Well, you can tell I had a lot of fun talking to Max. He was such a great guy, and I was really excited that we got to spend so much time talking to him. All right, let's flip over and do an accessibility interview from CES. Okay. Drop this one in. Oh, don't forget the chapter mark. I forgot I got it. That was close. I almost forget. Bart would have been really mad if I forgot. All right. Got to copy this in. I don't know if I'm going to have time to play any of these now that I'm looking at the clock.
People are asking about your pod feet pin.
Yeah.
We had those made. I'm wondering if we can add them to the, was it Zazzle? What was the site that we used?
I don't even know if I still have a Zazzle store going.
I'll check into that since it sounds like there's a little bit of interest. I'll see if we can add that as an item.
Interview from CES.
Well, it's time to talk accessibility.
Okay. There we go. And I was going to say Patreon there. Maybe I will. Just do it here for fun. Let's shift gears for just a second here, and I'd like to tell you about a wonderful human named George Smith. George took time out of his busy life to go over to podfeet.com/Patreon and pledged his hard-earned dollars to help the show. He decided the right weekly dollar amount for his family, and by doing this, he showed me that he gets value from the content he receives here on the Podfeet podcast. If you get value from the shows, please consider being wonderful like George and signing up to become a patron of the show. All right, let's get back to another CES interview. All right, now we're going to drop in. This is, let's see, shoot. Can you find, Steve, when I retweeted the Royale post, I included some photos. I wonder if those are available.
I can search for them.
Flexible display. This is an actual flexible display.
Did you retweet from Podfeet or NosillaCast?
From both. Podfeet would have been the originating one, though. So actually, if you just looked at what I tweeted today.
What was the retweet from? I'm sorry, what were you retweeting?
The Royale thing.
The
flexible display.
Yes.
I was just thinking those pictures might be good to drop into the to the chat.
Okay.
All right. I need you to mute.
Very good. Thank you. Sure.
I got to tell you, I held that flexible tablet in my very own hands, and I bent it every single which way I could find. The Android operating system somehow immediately adapted to all the different ways I'd folded it. For example, when the device was in portrait format and unfolded, the OS adapted to be readable in a vertical format. But when I folded it in half and I held it in landscape once it was folded in half, again, the operating system adapted. I flipped it over to look at the other side, and the OS jumped over to the other side and again adapted. Now, I know this isn't ready for prime time, and I'm not actually sure I'm sold that a foldable tablet phone is something we actually need, but it is here, and it is real, and it is definitely not vaporware. All right. Danby. This next one is one after your own heart. Thanks, Steve. Looks like you found them. Good. This next one is called Parcel Guard. It's a, my ex used to always tell me to mute. It's a mailbox you put on your doorstep, and you put packages in and they drop down like they do at a real mailbox. And then you can remotely open the mailbox for people and stuff to put packages in to keep from theft. Oh, good. Yeah, that's a good shot. Tell them you're shot. Sorry. This is Derby Parcel Guard. It isn't Parcel Guard one word. I thought Parcel Guard was one word, but I could be wrong.
Nope, 2 words.
All right. Okay, and this copy link. Oh, good. You put a bunch of them in there. Thanks, Steve. Bye, Sandy. All right. Definitely not vaporware.
Well, we all love having packages delivered.
Okay, now I think I had a note somewhere. Nuts. Well, my phone rings in the middle of this conversation with Bart, but we're just going to deal with that. Shall we? Come on. There we go. All right. Security bits. 1, 2, 3, 4. And where's my web browser? There it is. Am I missing anything exciting, Steve? Oh, there's the picture of it. What did you think of that overall?
I think for some people this could really solve a problem. I don't think it's for everybody, but a lot of people who get packages delivered to their home and are getting them stolen, this would be a great solution. It's not cheap, but it's certainly secure and stable. And you have a lot of control. Not having remote control is pretty nice, and visuals and weight sensing and all the things you'd want from a smart mailbox. Weight sensing just to determine if something has arrived, not to send something out.
Yeah. I guess I find it interesting to think about that's the kind of thing that if you tell Amazon that your thing was stolen, they replace it. So why should you spend any money fixing the problem? Right?
Well, that's not always Amazon.
True.
Not everyone will replace what is stolen.
Stolen, yeah. All right. Let me do a little vamping here, and then we'll switch over to security bits. Yeah.
Very much.
Well, I find the Danby Parcel Guard a really interesting product because it does give you a lot of control and flexibility of who you can let leave packages and where and how they get stored safely. But on the other hand, a lot of the companies that deliver products, they replace them for you if they get stolen. So why would you spend money doing it? But then again, I guess you really want to get your packages is the real goal. So going through that hassle is something you wouldn't want to do. It is big though. It's a big device. It's really, really big. Anyway, it's an interesting idea, and it's definitely solving a problem a lot of us have. All right. And a little security bits. How come my voice is working, Steve?
I don't know. You probably just
a half hour ago.
It'll fall apart as soon as the show's done.
Well, that'd be okay.
Both security bits and chit chat I don't see in the post yet. You just haven't.
Well, chit chat you should see it in there. It's after all the CES talk. But
Really?
I may not have. I was working on that at the last minute.
Okay. Yeah, I don't see it
So-
yet.
Okay, that might just be true. Tools
And
split
security
stereo.
bits.
I definitely did not put in until just now.
Okay.
I am. I just, I can publish again, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I just
mean,
want
if
to
you
make
want
sure
me
you
to
didn't
publish again.
forget it.
No, I did. I absolutely did forget it, but I have put it in now. All right. Okay. Should I say, okay, that's enough with interviews. Let's dig into some security bits?
Sure.
Ah. There we go. Oh, no, that's not it. Wait, what did I just do? Nuts. Hang on. What is going on? Sorry, I can't tell which track is which. What's that time of the week again? It's time for Security Bits with Bart Bouchatz. How are you doing today, Bart? Doesn't look right at all. Okay, something is wrong. That's Bart. Maybe I deleted me. I mean, I deleted him. Maybe that's what I did wrong. I don't know. This is very odd. Oh, you're showing my screen now. Normally, I'm going to split stereo here. So this is me. So if I mute this track and that track and I hit play, this should sound like me. What's that time of the week again? It's time for Security Bits with Bart Bouchatz. How are you doing today, Bart Bouchatz? So I don't see anything that look. Oh, maybe this is it. Okay, let me mute this. I'm trying to find the track. Whoops. No. Mute. Mute. Unmute. What's that time of the week? Yeah, that's what it is. Okay. Jeez. It's like, wait, where am I talking? Okay, so that helps me line up that. So now I can delete me and I can crop Bart. So I can take that and split and delete that. And now I can start lining Bart back up. It's a little bit funny. Oh, gotta unmute. What's that time of the week again? It's time for Security Bits with Bart Bouchatz. How are you doing today, Bart Bouchatz? Okay, gotta unmute. You can't hear anything. Today, Bart Bouchatz.
I am doing just fine, Alison.
Oh, you've done that on your bike this year. If you add up all
Actually,
of
if you add it
2018.
up, yeah, I'm sure somewhere on Map My Ride it'll tell me, the cumulative elevation gain, and it'll probably be something.
So let's see. I asked you if I should explain. I'm going to switch back to Security Bits, and then I didn't do it. Why do I hear noise right now?
I just went live. Let me mute.
Oh, got a lot of noise in your room. Why do you have noise in your room?
It's my fan. Mimo is kicking things up.
Wow. Okay, let's see. A lot of us have. I'm just going to go into Security Bits. What's that time of the week again? It's time for Security Bits with Bart Bouchatz. How are you doing today, Bart Bouchatz?
I am doing just fine, Alison. Yeah, I've entered the last year of my 30s. I need to make the most of it while I'm still young.
Ah, there you go. All right, this is the year you climb Mount Everest, huh? Well, you've done that on your bike this year. If you add up all
Actually,
of
if you add it
2018.
up, yeah, I'm sure somewhere on Map My Ride it'll tell me the cumulative elevation gain, and it'll probably be something stupid because everything's uphill, downhill around here.
Oh yeah, you should check that. That might be fun. I did that once with I don't know, one of the apps, and I realized I could have walked across Europe three times, I think, that year.
Oh, cool.
It's pretty fun. Well, let's dig into some security news.
Yeah, so it's only 1 week's worth of news, and yet the notes look quite full.
Yeah, they do.
So I guess all of that stuff they weren't doing over Christmas, they've decided to do now or something. We get to start with some follow-up stories from stuff we've talked about before. So the cast hack was sort of recently breaking news, so much so that you had to read out part of my my
Your
stuff
addendum.
last time. Yeah, so I just updated these show notes to contain the links that it sort of informed my talking to you about it. So
Okay, good.
That's sort of what's there. There's also been some more details from the Marriott data leak. Sort of a glass half full, glass half empty. So in terms of the total number of people affected, that went down. But to be honest, that's not really the story. The story is that they have confirmed that they leaked 5 million passport numbers. Yeah,
That's awesome.
That's just not good information. That's like social security numbers on steroids, because everyone on planet Earth has a passport number if they've traveled.
Yeah,
So-
I'm pretty sure that's the only thing that the OPM hack didn't have on me.
Oh, yeah, that was the one thing that they'd forgotten about. Yeah. great.
Okay, all done now. Now I can say it's
Yeah.
done.
You gotta catch them all. Congratulations, you win.
Catch them all.
Or lose them all, I guess. The opposite of catch them all, have them all caught.
Yeah, exactly. Jeez.
Something I didn't dig into a lot last time. I popped it in and suggested reading because I hadn't had the time to digest it enough. But I think actually we should regurgitate it, if you'll excuse the expression. And just actually, the first thing to say is in the show notes is a link to episode 120 of the Secure Mac podcast. And that's not the name of the podcast. That's the name of the company. I should update those notes. It's called The Checklist by Secure Mac.
Okay.
Ken Ray is the host, and he gets on smart people from Secure Mac to talk about security stuff. It's an interesting new security podcast with not an ever so slight Macintosh bias, a total and utter Macintosh bias. But one of the first segment in episode 120 is all about the phone-based scams. We're used to these from people pretending to call from Microsoft, but there's a new campaign, I guess you'd call it, a spate of them, targeting Apple users with a twist. I haven't seen the full technical details of the twist confirmed to me, but I think I understand what's going on. So this one has a bit of a caveat on it. What I can tell you is what it looks like. The phone rings, and it looks like Apple are calling you.
Right. We've had that
And
for a
every
while.
iPhone, when you get it out of the box, has in the address book by default Apple Inc.
Right. So
with their
caller ID
1-800
tells you
number.
it's Apple.
So they are. It's my understanding is that they are using one of the many, many, many bugs in probably the S9 protocol that ties our cell phone networks together to spoof the caller ID.
This
And your
has been going on
iPhone
for
by
a really long time. Like so long that when you call Apple here, it says,
Mhm.
if you think you have been called by Apple, that's not right. And yes, we have told the authorities about it for like at least 6 months. Even
We're
longer.
good. We're good. Of
Yeah.
course, because iPhones ship with a default address book entry for Apple,
Mm-hmm.
when the phone rings, you get the full Cupertino address, Apple's website, basically the full contact card that Apple put in there to advertise that you gets put up. So it looks excruciatingly legitimate.
Right, right.
So much so that if you actually dial Apple, it will show up in your call list as being from the same person.
Right.
So
If
that's
Apple
the
calls
extra
you,
little. Yeah. So if Apple calls you, they won't. They don't call you unless you actually explicitly make an appointment where they will call you at a given time that you have arranged with them through their web interface. That is
And
the
it's
only
not
time
that
Apple
phone
will call
number.
you.
it's never
And
that
it's a different phone
when
number.
they
Yeah,
call
it's
me.
support,
Yeah.
not their 1-800 number. Yeah.
Right, right. So pretty much,
So
if
that
you
is the
ever
big
see that,
takeaway.
if you ever see Apple calling you, no, they're not.
Precisely. You are not that important. They have better things to do.
Well, if it says Tim
Okay.
Cook, then you're,
Oh, yeah, totally. That's definitely legit. How much sarcasm can you put into one sentence? Anyway, notable security updates. Some big ones here. So first off, Adobe were forced to release an out-of-band patch for their PDF products, i.e. Acrobat and Reader, because there was a nasty 0-day under active exploitation. So, yay.
Now, that's kind of interesting because a woman who isn't real sophisticated wrote into one of the Mac user groups I'm a member of, and she was asking about what is this Acrobat update? And we all told her to run away, assuming it was a fake one. It might have been real. But always go to the website anyway.
Right, but it depends on what kind of, like, when did this update come up? Because if it was the app itself doing its self-test...
It might have been.
You know, it's self-update, that's okay, but that's very hard to explain to a
novice. Yeah, and her explanation wasn't real good. You had to kind of read between the lines to see what she was seeing.
And if you read between the lines, you may end up reading the wrong line.
Yeah, exactly. Go to the website, download the update.
Yeah, I think that is the only advice you can give really in that kind of situation, yeah. Or don't use... I don't understand why you'd use Acrobat on a Mac, because previews actually really darn good.
I can tell you why, because a whole bunch of stupid websites tell you this thing won't work with whatever you have. You have a Mac, you better go download this Adobe software. I get it all the time. And I finally trained my father-in-law to stop, freaking out when he sees it. Don't listen to it. It's fake.
Yeah. Adobe really went out of their way to get people to push their stuff.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of websites just have never updated themselves to remove that garbage. It's rubbish. Preview is a great PDF reader.
Yeah.
And writer. And I haven't had any Adobe junk on my machine in ages. No Flash, no Acrobat, no Reader.
I do
have all the Adobe photography apps, but that's not junk, I guess.
My financial advisor needed me to sign some forms and sent me them, and only Adobe would open them. And I told her, yeah, find another way. Not going to do it. And she did.
No. Oh, good. Good. Anyway, so the out-of-band patch exploit in the wild. So if you are insisting on running that Adobe stuff, make sure.
Okay. I let that run for a while because we had a little update after the end of the show.
But anyway, the important...
What kind of update?
There was another security thing that popped up.
So a second recording?
No, Bart did not get a chance to record with me or write anything, so I'm going to jump right back.
Wait, you're not going to
stay patched and stay secure.
A little bit.
Uh-oh.
That's what I meant to do. Okay. Wait, this just in. After Bart and I recorded, Alistair Jenks sent us an article telling us that many U.S. government website certificates are not being renewed due to the shutdown. So that's a bad thing. Now, the question is, what does it actually mean to us? Well, it means that you can't trust these sites as you could be spoofed by a man-in-the-middle attack. If you don't enter any information into a website, maybe you're okay to read, but definitely do not enter any information into a site without a valid certificate ever, 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 but definitely not on a government site. But it turns out there's another rub to this. Some government sites have opted into something called HSTS, which stands for Hypertext Strict Transport Security. When a site is enabled HSTS, it simply will not load if the certificate has not been updated. Evidently, there's a timeout time on it, but usually people set it for years. So you won't be able to get to these sites until the government shutdown ends and people are allowed to get back to work. Well, that's the end of the addendum, and that's going to wind us up for this week. Do not forget to send in your dumb questions, comments, and suggestions. You can do that by emailing me at allison@podfeet.com, and you can follow me on Twitter @podfeet. Remember, everything good starts with podfeet.com. You want to become a Patreon like George did? Podfeet.com/Patreon. You want to join our Facebook group and chat up with your friends? Podfeet.com/Facebook. You want to join our Slack community because you don't like Facebook or you want to try something new? We're having a lot of fun over in podfeet.com/Slack. And if you want to join in the live chat room, podfeet.com/chat. And if you want to get those Amazon affiliate links, podfeet.com/Amazon. If you want to join in the fun of the live show, where do you think you go? You head on over to podfeet.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic NosillaCastaways. Castaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. Whew. Voice held up.
Where is it that I should go if I want to find something about Podfeet?
I don't know. Nobody knows. Actually, that was another funny crack that Norbert said. We were just chatting away, and he said, everything good starts with podfeet.com.
Yeah. He actually threw a few of those back at us during the show.
So funny. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's funny.
Thanks for listening, and stay subscribed. All right. We're a quiet crowd tonight. Yeah. I think some people like Facebook. Hi, this is Alice. All right. I don't hear the outro music. Really? I played it. Here it is.
You hear that, Alan?
Can't go until Alan says he hears it. Several people are typing.
Okay. Good. We're good.
Whew. Didn't want that not to happen. All right. File, export. I think you guys are going to get out of class early, which is good because I have to post Chit Chat before I post the NosillaCast, or they will cross over and they won't exist in each other's worlds. And I haven't done that yet. So
I noticed.
Thanks. Well, I'm sorry. We didn't finish recording until 4 o'clock today. Bart's birthday was on Friday, and he had a friend coming over on Saturday, and so he asked for the day off. Could we shift it to Sunday? So
good for him.
Exactly. But
you went
that's
easy
why
on
the
him,
show isn't out yet. Yep. All right. Well, I think I'm actually going to call it because my voice is probably not going to make it much longer. Do you want to say goodnight to the kids, Steve?
Good night, NosillaCastaways. I appreciate you joining us.
You sound silly. All right, everybody. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.